Hi YouTubers, Phoenix Talon back with you again for another tutorial. So what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about the thing that's right in front of me. This thing, the delay gate. Yes friends, we're going to talk about the clock. I know, clocks are so entertaining, right? Well, it's very important that we understand how to work them, because I think a lot of you probably don't know exactly how they work. Well, I'm going to show you, so that's pretty interesting. Probably get to the flip-flop gate, and I'm thinking we'll play with the inverter gate, because really in order to use the clock or the delay gate the right way, it kind of brings in the inverter gate. Probably going to explore a logic gate, and I'm thinking we'll also use a switch. I don't know for sure, I'm just saying. So why don't we go ahead and take this outside, because I got something going on inside right now. So we'll go outside and we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, so here we are outside, and let's go ahead and take a look at a clock. Alright, it seems pretty simple enough. We go ahead and get into our nice little wiring tool, press in, and you can see we've got a receive, a send, a delay, slider, and a can interact. Now as far as the delay goes, let's go ahead and just set that to 1 for right now. And we're not going to set any receives or sends for the moment. We're just going to make this thing try to work. Let's go ahead and put an LED down here because we want to go ahead and see it work. We're going to go ahead and set the send of this to the LED, and nothing happens. Why not? Well, because we didn't provide it with any kind of an input. It requires an input. So let's go ahead and put a switch down. We'll go ahead and put the switch down to the receive, and we'll turn it on, and hey, it went on after a second, but then it didn't do anything else. Why is that? Well, let me go ahead and tell you. It's because the delay gate is just like any digital clock. It has an up and a down. Right now, we're not giving it anything else to do. It's just getting this one true signal coming in. Uh-oh, there's that true and false stuff again. And it's getting the true signal, and as soon as it gets a false signal, it'll wait another second, and it will turn everything off. So we'll go ahead and turn the true signal on, wait 1 second, and it goes on. See how that works? It's pretty easy, isn't it? But it doesn't keep going. It's because you have to change the signal. That's why we're going to get the inverter gate. See, told you we'd go ahead and get to it. Let's go ahead and get the inverter gate. So we'll go ahead and put one of those down right here, just so we can keep them separated. I know they look so similar, it's easy to get them confused. Let's go back to our wiring circuit. Let's go ahead and say, well, every time we send this signal that's true, if we send it to an inverter gate, we already know inverter gates invert the signal. They change it. So it's going to change it from a true signal to a false signal. So if we go ahead and do that, now this is going to take this true signal and turn it into a false signal, or a false signal and turn it into a true. Right now, the clock, its state is false. So it sends it to here as false. The inverter gate state will then be true. So the output we send back to the clock is now going to be a true signal, which is going to flip the clock. But there's nothing to get it going right now. There's 2 ways to get it going. One, you can put the switch down here. The second way would be to use a pressure plate right here. I'm going to go ahead and show you the switch first. Alright, we go ahead and take the switch and we send it to the receive of the clock. Now, when we flip the switch, it's going to send a true to the clock, which is going to wait 1 second, pulse false down here, or pulse true, yeah. True, false, then send false here, which is going to send true back here, which is going to keep the clock going because it's just going to be a nice endless loop. And every time the clock says true, or in this case, it says its state is true, but the light is off. It says its state is false, but the light is on. That's because it's the state of what it's turning. It's that second delay until it becomes true or false again. Okay? But we don't need this switch anymore. It's going to run forever, just like this. It will keep going on and off and on and off forever and ever and ever. this will go until you stop it. Okay, so let's say we want to stop it. Well, that's one way to stop it. We'll just get rid of the inverter gate. Then it can't do anything anymore. But that's no good. So let's go ahead and make that happen again. Now we'll go ahead and pulse it with this. Now the same thing is going to happen, but we step on it once, and it keeps going forever and ever and ever. That's pretty cool, huh? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, and let's get rid of that. We'll put that grass back, because, you know, I'm not about tearing up the grass. I don't want to damage the yard, right? Okay, but we want to have more control over this. We want to be able to turn it on and off at our whim, not the whim of the infinite loop that it becomes. So we're going to add this and this. What is this and this? This is a logic gate. It is going to be an AND gate. We'll keep it as AND. And we are going to hook this into this system. So where do we need to hook this into the system? Well, first off, we need to go ahead and say power. So power, when it receives power and something else that's true. Well, how about we have it send this inverter gate signal? Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Then we know that the clock is going to send its signal to the inverter. Now the breakpoint is we have nothing going back to the clock. That's going to be our AND gate. And now, what's going to end up happening is when we turn this on, it's going to send the signal here, because right now, the clock's sending false to the inverter. The inverter is true, is sending true to the AND gate. Once we send true to the AND gate, it's going to make this output true to the clock, which is going to set it in motion again, which is going to keep this loop going and going. When we flip the switch off, it's going to send its last pulse through the inverter, making the inverter true, which will make this true, but this will be false, and that will output false because it's an AND gate. So then that will actually stop the motion. So let's try it. Hey, look at that. It's working. Now let's see if it's infinite. So we'll get one more pulse after we turn it off. There it goes. And it's off. That's easy, isn't it? Try that again. So it's on, and it's off. Excellent, isn't it? So that's a machine. That is a full-on machine. Get used to making this right here, because you're going to need to know how to do this. This is how you can turn clocked machines on and off. And you can send this clock pulse to a whole bunch of different stuff all over the area. Okay, so don't worry about that. The point is, you want to get used to making this 4-part system if you want to be able to turn this on and off. Now, let's say you didn't want this switch, you just wanted something like the pressure plate. Well, you could do that too. Put the pressure plate down there, and then you'll just run the pressure plate back into the system, and every time you stand on the pressure plate, it will go ahead and get the system going. When you're not standing on the pressure plate, it will go ahead and turn the system off. It's pretty easy, isn't it? Yep, pretty simple, pretty simple. So that's the clock. And if you don't like its delay, you can go ahead and change it. You can change it all the way up till 10. And having no delay just means it's going to pulse as quickly as the game will let it. Actually, I don't know. I haven't clocked the delay on that, but it's pretty quick. And I've noticed that it can change with frame rate. So, yeah. I don't know if that's just what the game's running at, or yeah, there you go. But that is pretty awesome. And if you want it set for like 4-second delay, it'll take 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn on. And then it'll take 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will turn off. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. Yep. Clock is not hard to understand once you know how to get it going. So remember, the clock is going to give you an on and an off. Okay, so let's go ahead and raise the ante. Let's make it harder. Let's say I want something to be on and something to be, or I want something to be on and off at the same time. Oh, okay, so this one will be on, and then when it's off, this one will be on. When this one's off, this one will be on. You see what I mean? Like opposite. So that means we need opposite, so that means inverter gate. So let's go ahead and throw one of those down right here, and I probably got it backwards for your understanding, so let's do it this way. There we go. Okay, so we're going to wire up that inverter gate here. We're going to go ahead and send a clock to it. Now, every time we stand on this, one will always be on, and one will always be off. Alright, so now that it's got it going, we'll just have to wait the 4 seconds, unless we want to change that. Here, let's change that, because that's too long. Let's go to 0.5. You can do that. There you go. Did I save it? I probably didn't save it. I did save it. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. So there you go. One is always on, one is always off. And that's just putting another inverter gate into the system. Alright, so there you go. If you want to make like police lights, you can do that. I don't know if we've gone over LED, but we'll do that at some point. But I just will say we could do red, and you could do blue over here. There we go. I don't think LEDs are too hard to figure out, but yeah, you never know. There you go. Police lights. Woo! You gotta have fun with it. Okay, so there you go. Very simple, and the pigsies are starting to show up, so maybe we should go ahead and move on to our next item up for bid. I'll go ahead and clean up this mess, and we'll get to the flip-flop gate. Okay, so let's talk about the flip-flop. So there it is. There's a flip-flop. Okay, so let's talk about this thing. If you go into the interface, the window, you will see that it has one receive and one send. But what does it do? Well, the best way to show you is to show you what this does, because I think you all know that if you step on a switch with the LED, it's going to turn it on. If you step off, it will turn it off. I think we covered this when we talked about doors and things like that. Alright, well, the flip-flop gate is a little different. So let's run this through the flip-flop gate. Then we'll run the output through the LED. So whereas this, I step on, goes on, step off, goes off. With this one, step on, goes on, step off, doesn't go off. Ooh, that's different. If I step on it again, it will go off, step off, doesn't change. That's what a flip-flop does. It will take the state that you send it, then it will ignore your change in state. Then you'll go ahead and change your state again. It will go ahead and take that. Then it will ignore the next one. So basically, this will do every other pulse. Okay? What makes this fun is if we do this, now I go ahead and step on it. It stays on. Step on this one, it goes off. Where would this be handy is if you have a long hallway of lights and you want to go ahead and go very quickly without turning your lights on and off, is you step on this, your lights go on in your hallway, you run across, oops, and I missed the pressure plate entirely, then you will go ahead and turn off. So let's try that again so I don't miss the pressure plate. So you step on it, it goes ahead and turns your lights on. You go through the hallway. You step on the exit to your hallway, and the lights go off. So it's pretty fun, right? But there's got to be something more entertaining that you can do with this. And I've got just the thing. It's called ice. You can have fun with ice, yes. So let's go ahead and we'll put an LED over here, just like we have. And we'll put an LED over here, just like that. We're going to need a flip-flop gate. But if you have a flip-flop gate, you need switches. So let's go ahead and put some pressure plate switches down here. You have to hold shift when you're putting anything on an LED. Okay, so make sure you do that. Oh, that's not what I'm trying to do. I need this tool. Rotate. R to rotate. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and get another one over here. And shift, rotate, there we go. And let's go ahead and get back our wiring tool. We'll go ahead and run both of these to the receive of the flip-flop gate. There we go. Run both of these to the receive. Now, when we hit this switch, it's going to make this flip-flop gate go ahead and change its state. When we hit the other switch, it's going to change it back, right? Because we are going to go ahead and remove ourselves from those pressure plates. But I think we need something more entertaining than that. So we're going to throw an inverter into the mix. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to run the output to the input of the inverter. We're going to run the output also to this LED. Run the output of the inverter over here to this LED. So now, when I hit this button, that LED goes on, which is not what we want to happen. So that means we need to fix the state. There we go. That's better. See, what you have to remember with a flip-flop gate is you may have to pulse it to get it to do what you want. So we'll hit this one, light goes on. Alright, light stays on. Hit over here, light goes on, that light goes off. That's what we want. But that's so boring. That's very boring. Let's go ahead and add an element of fun to it. I say we add a fan. What do you say? Alright, if you right click or left click, right click the fan, it will turn it on or off. I think we should get another one over here. Alright, let's turn that off. Then we'll get our handy dandy rotation tool. There we go. And then we'll get our handy dandy rotation tool. There we go. And let's get our wiring tool back up. Okay, so this output is going to this LED. We want it to go to that fan. This output is going to that LED. We want it to go to that fan. Easy enough. I think we get the hint of what we're going to do. So, yeah, I'll leave the wiring tool up for now. Whee! But see, now I can't get off. I can't get off this train. It just goes and goes and goes. How could I possibly give myself enough time to get off of this train? Well, I tell you how we could do it. We could introduce a delay gate. So let's go ahead and run this whole thing through the delay gate first. What do you say? I say that's a great idea. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and press in on this. We know it receives this output, so we're going to select this output, hit Control C, then we're going to delete it. Press save. Those wires are now gone. Now we're going to press in on our clock. We're going to set the delay for, I think, a half a second is enough time to get out of the way. And we're going to hit on receives, Control V, save. Now we're going to take that send and put it to the receive of our flip-flop. Too easy, right? All right, let's see. That one's on, so let's go over here. And after a half a second of delay, it's ready to go. So there you go. And if you can't get away in half a second, then you could always set it for a second. So there you go. So let's get out of the way. Yep, half a second's not long enough to get off that ice and get going. So let's go ahead and we'll change that to a whole second. I think that's enough time. Excellent. All right, let's see if 1 second is enough time. Get out of the way, get out of the way. It is enough time. Yay, that's fantastic. All right, so there you go. Now, you'll notice I got out of the way and it didn't switch over, but the clock was moving. Aha, this is the last thing I'm going to talk to you about, the clock. And then I think we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. So let's go ahead and make another clock over here. All right, and let's go ahead and make an LED right here. And just because we're feeling froggy, let's go ahead and put this right here, pressure plate. Now, let's go ahead and wire this thing up. We'll go ahead and put the pressure plate to the receive of the clock. We'll put the send to the receive of the LED. We'll go into our clock. We'll set our delay for, oh, I don't know, 2 whole seconds. Why not? So, If I stand on this, 2 seconds later, the LED will go on. If I get off of it, 2 seconds later, the LED will go off, right? Aha, but there's something really interesting about the clock. It doesn't remember you. If you get off the pressure plate before those 2 seconds, the LED will not go on. If it's on, okay, if it's on, and now I get off, but I get back on before the 2 seconds is up, it doesn't know that I left, and it stays on. That is the thing about the clock. Its input must be constant, or at the very least consistent with what you want as your output. Okay? So, if you're giving it a true input and you want it to go ahead and stay true like this, after those 2 seconds it'll go ahead and go true. There it is. Then you have to stay with that true. If you want it to go false, you have to make it all the time, or that whole time that it's delaying, false. Otherwise it will forget. Okay? Very important safety tip about the clock. Okay? So that didn't activate because I wasn't there the whole time. Like if I step on it, it should go, but it's not. See? But if I stay there the whole time, shoo, there it goes. There it goes, see? Stay with it the whole time. Alright, so I'm gonna change my mind. I didn't want to go. Then it will stop. This will be a very interesting safety device if you want to build something like this, or an elevator, or something like that, where you're like, oh, I changed my mind. I didn't really want to go. You can incorporate a delay into your device and then change your mind. It can be like a safety catch. So that's the last thing I'm going to talk to you about clocks. So we talked about clocks, flip-flop gates. We deal a little bit with the fan and the LED and the switches and things like that. Those are the easy ones. This is the hard stuff right here. We even brought the inverter gate and how to keep your clock running. So I hope you learned something. I appreciate you joining me for this. And I will continue to do more of these, and we'll continue to build bigger and better and more fun stuff. And please join me on the next one. If you like it, leave me a like. And if you want something specific, please leave a comment so that I'll know what you want to see, and I'll go ahead and make it for you. Thank you for watching. Peace.